Hello there, good morning and welcome to my little arty corner on YouTube. It happens to be Wednesday, good gosh, it's the 6th of April already. Nearly a week of April is gone. Honestly, time. Tempus fugit. It rushes, doesn't it? It's just after 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I am late starting anything today. I've actually been doing stuff, but it's been lettering practice. I haven't got much in lately. But I hope you're all doing fine and well, that you're finding time to be creative. And I just want to say thank you for all of those who've liked my videos or subscribed to the channel, especially new subscribers, because I haven't welcomed you yet, so I am now. For returning subscribers, thank you so much. And if you've shared my videos with others you know who would enjoy them, thank you. That's a big help in some ways, getting this out to people. And of course, thank you so much for all your absolutely wonderful comments. It's really lovely to read them and to get this idea that I seem to be doing something that's okay, all right. Okay, it's Wednesday. It's grey out. We got weather warning for high winds. There's rain forecast. So, Mad March weather is heading into April quite happily. So it's a day to be in the warm, although I do have to go out later this evening to pick up a grocery, grocery shopping. But for now, it's time for art. And as it's Wednesday is the day I draw the colouring template for the Angela Porter's Colouring Book Fans Facebook group. I thought I'd make use of some of the things we've been drawing or ideas we've been using here, and perhaps you could use it to put together your own. Now, I am drawing on A4 paper because that is the size I draw colouring templates at. But of course you can make use of this on any size paper. And I'm not going to do a video. It's a couple of hours long, 2 or 3 hours long as I complete this, but I'll make a start. Okay, I'm going to take a circular motif that I didn't actually, let me just move something out of my head way, share with you, but it is in my sketchbook, and I thought, oh, I like these. And I thought you might like them as well. Got to find the right one now. Just to remind myself, because I thought, oh, I want to do that one again. Because this is how I do things. I'm a bit wit-watty at times. Bit of a wit-wat. Which is sort of Wenglish for a bit dippy-drippy. A bit, spaced out-ish or whatever. No, I can't find the one I was looking for, but I know what I want to do, so it's fine. And I'm going to start by drawing this kind of shape inside, as if we're having just the edges of petals and the gaps between them, but not the full petal. A full petaled flower. Like this. But then I'm going to draw another version inside it. Not trying to follow the shapes exactly, but just to give that kind of shape, and then perhaps the centre. I'm thinking these will be quite fun to add colour to. Now they're flowers, so I need some stems, I think. I could draw them all higgledy-piggledy, but it's nice as well to have some space. So let's have some stems here. And I definitely want some leaves, and we did leaves, so I looked at leaves with you a little while ago, but a shape of leaf I didn't do was this kind of shape, which looks a bit like a lobster claw. I don't even know if plants exist that have leaves this shape. Saying that, it does remind me of seaweed, parts of seaweed. Which one is it? It's a bit like bladderwrack, and the ends on that. Just a bit. It's funny how I can get that shape better on this side, but not so on that one. Don't know what that's about. I was tempted to put a circle in here, but I think I will. So this could be a seaweed flower, a weedful flower. I am going to pop another one up here that will go behind this one. And again, I'm going to pop that stem in. I'm using a Tombow Fudenasuki brush pen, and this one is getting to the point that I think it might actually be starting to run out of ink. I had to bin a pen this week that actually had more or less run out of ink. It was one of the Pilot pigment sign brush pens that I've fallen in love with, and I actually had it drawing lines that were so light grey. I thought, I'm nearly out of ink here, I think I better dispose of this and crack out a new one, which I did. Well, not a new one, but I had another one that wasn't running out yet. And I think Fudenasuki's and now the Pentel brush pens are the two pens that I've actually run out of ink with before I've wrecked completely the nib. Because I do wreck nibs, even these. I mean, this doesn't have a fine point on it anymore. I can still get some variation in line though with pressure, but I quite like the bolder lines. Okay, and one more. Should I put it up here or down here or over here? I think I might just pop it behind this one, with enough space that I can neatly put a stem in here. And again, do some of my funky leaves. Funky or fungi? Funny? Fungi. Mushrooms. I mentioned I went out for brunch, the first time I've been out to eat in a cafe, to be around people for 2 years, over 2 years. And the brunch I had some wholemeal toast, so brown bread, which is my preferred one. If I can, you know, it varies. Sometimes I fancy white and sometimes it's definitely brown, but it was a brown bread day with scrambled eggs. That's unusual for me to eat eggs. And mushrooms, but they were garlic mushrooms. They'd been fried with garlic and fresh parsley, and they were really rather lovely. The meal was enormous. I couldn't get over it. I couldn't eat it all, which is fine. I was happy with that. I think I managed one piece of toast. I ate nearly all the mushrooms and most of the egg. And I was fluck then. But anyway, so there we are. So we've got some of these. So I think what I'll do here, though, is to carry on this theme of having perhaps some of these spheres, is to create some kind of, all right, this pen isn't wanting to work very well, so I may have to, or I'm going to have to use another one, but I want to get the outlines in the same pen for the same thickness. Right, so that one, I will hang on to it because it's good enough for sketchbook work still. But I hope the one I've picked up, it's a Zig Mangaka Flexible. It's a fine nib. Hopefully this is quite a stiff nib. If not, I'll be looking for the next one. I want to go back to the ones I coloured because there were some lovely ones in here that I think would work really nicely. Oh yeah, this one will work fine. You can see the difference. So you might not be able to, but I can see the difference of how black the ink is coming out of here. So not only is the nib on the brush nib on my Tombow practically inflexible, it's also definitely the ink is almost run out, but it's not a problem. When I scan it in, I'll be able to adjust all of this. I'm having weird wheelie things here. Let me just do something about these spoke areas so that they look a little less organised and a bit more random. What if I put them together like this? They might end up looking a bit bushy. I don't think they do necessarily, but it's fine. This is my world, so perhaps buses. No, there's no buses in my world, but there are bushes, and perhaps the bushes look like this, because why not? And I will add some foliage in, perhaps, and some here. I'm just doing sort of U shapes, but where the open ends are narrower. The gaps between these open ends are narrower than the other end, so they naturally kind of do that fan kind of shape. Another one there. Oh, something's come through the door. That's fine. I can look at that later, maybe, possibly on a good day with a following wind. Put it this way, it's not going anywhere. So that actually looks quite nice. I like that. I am going to go over this one though. It's a bit messy. It'll be fine once it's scanned in. So digitally you can clean it up. So I've got some nice interesting things going on here. And I want to pop some fish in here because we were doing fish. And I had this crazy, possibly crazy idea. Possibly crazy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in like a column here. I'm going to cap it about here because I thought it could be quite fun to have a fishy totem pole. So I'm going to draw some fish in with heads and tails. I might put some vertical fish or horizontal. Or a mixture. I don't know. I'm trying to decide now. Part of me wants to go vertical because of these lines. But these lines are only a guideline. So let's have a look at doing some fish in here. And I'll have their tails hanging out one side. Yes, you heard me right. Fish totem pole. Well, a totem pole with fish in. I may have to adjust where my pencil lines are in a moment, but I think they could be quite interesting. And here I'm going to have sort of like almost like a carved bit just here, just to support the fish. And let's have some lines that split that up. I think we'll have something like that there, perhaps here for the tail, something there. And I think I'll leave the body as it is because everything else is all a bit busy. So let's have a look at creating a bit more of a totemy pole kind of feel going on. So let's create like a section here, and with this one I'll make the edge straight, but I think I'll pop some circles in here. In my mind they're bubbles, carved bubbles, but in other people's mind they could be anything else. So there's one fish. So let's have a look at doing another fish on this side. Different shape body perhaps, and tail. There we go. And I'm going to curve that around, put the eye up here. Little chubby cheek. And then I can't really put a big fin in the bottom, so I'll put a couple of smaller ones, I think. Spacing is never my strong point. But here I'll put that fin pointing down. And perhaps at the top I'll have a couple of stripes, because I think that'll work. Again, I'll split the tail there. Perhaps just have a couple of stripes in the tail. And then again, I now need to have this as if it's a part of a pole. I just thought it'd be a bit of fun, something a bit different to do. And also my mind works in strange ways. Well, I guess everybody's mind works in weirdly wonderful ways, doesn't it? So, and here I've got, I want to do something that will give me some pattern behind it. So perhaps something like this might work. They're uneven, but I don't mind that. It's just adding a pattern or some idea of some texture, and perhaps one could disappear behind that fish as if it's there. Okie dokes. Another fish. I think this one might just pop its tail in first. There's its tail, and then I want its mouth like this here. So we've got a cute little mouth there. I think its eye can be here. Pop that on. And I'm going to pop a centre line in, but instead of adding that fin that covers the gill, I'm going to put some patterns on this one. And let's have a look at having a couple of fins on the back, like so. And I'll pop a couple of lines there, or a couple of lines. They're not lines, what are you calling them? They're circles. And here I'm going to have something like that. And then I am going to draw in my totemy poley kind of thing. Have it behind my fishy wishy. Perhaps a little bit like this, to the top of its lips, and then a bigger one. I was thinking of putting a fountain here, and I think I still could, because what I think I'll do is I'll give the idea that we've got a fountain here by drawing in watery dropped shaped leaves, perhaps, rather than having an actual fountain. Like so, perhaps. Somebody will work that one out, I'm sure. I'm going to not put any pattern in this bit of the totem pole behind, but I think I'm really going to go with some whimsy and fun, possibly. And I'm going to draw in a fish. Oh no. Let's pop in one of my Doodleworlds characters, looking rather smug there. And I'm going to pop I think I'll pop a bird on the top. So the way I'm going to draw this bird is I'm going to take a kind of curved teardrop shape or a paisley shape. The legs are just going to be lines. The beak is going to be there. Wing, I'm going to do it really simply. Eye, like that. I'll pop bottom bit in so we can have some variation in colour. In fact, with the wing I might just do that. And then for the tail, I'll just do that, and perhaps a little feather on the top of the head. So we've got a cheeky critter sticking out there. He looks a bit lonely apart from the bird, doesn't he? So I'm just popping in my favourite thing to embellish these kinds of shapes if they're meant to be foliage, which are a line and a dot on the end. And then I think I can get perhaps another character or two sticking out from behind him, because where there's one, there's got to be at least three, really. Trouble. Total trouble. Tongue sticking out on that one, and let's just get his body going down there. So that's a bit of fun, possibly. There we go. So there's that. All right. So I can add some more things here. Start putting my bottom border in as well, drawing this in as I go. It just helps to neaten things off. I seem to be drawing an awful lot of landscape templates these days. Don't know why that is. It was always portraits. But, you know, there we go. So I think here I'm not going to draw on it in the entire circle. I'm going to have it stopping here, and what I'm going to do as well is to these lines, I should have done it as I was going along, is to create some texture and pattern as if the surface is a bit uneven. I'm going and add it. It's not exactly my way of doing it usually, but it'll work, it'll be fine. There we go, there's that there. All right, so let's have a look. I'm going to pop a nice circle inside this, and another one. I'm going to make the line the top and the right of that excuse me, of the inside of that circle thicker, and to the left, and the bottom thicker, so it looks like it's standing proud of the rest of this. And then I'm going to draw in kind of petal shapes or upside, you know, U shapes, where there's gaps between them, but they're pointing up towards that central bit. And I'm trying to remember to bend them a little. This brush isn't as easy to control, brush pen isn't as easy to control as the Tombows. It's a bit softer, but it'll work. So that looks either like a flower or perhaps a sea urchin. Let's add another one in. So broken line to the ground again. And perhaps for this one I'll just have a hole in the middle. And I'm going to draw in this one a border around the outside, and I'm going to have shapes like that. I love all of these things being abstract. When you have objects that don't look like anything real, it opens the possibility as to what you turn them into or what you make of them, and frees up the use of colour as well. Just going to go over there. Just saw that was a bit untidy. I'll need a bit of a clean up again. But I just love it. This variation you get, or the very stylized and so on. And using colours that work in your little world, whatever your little world is. Because I love the idea that we're creating our own little realms. And I give the bones and the structure through my drawings, but it's then up to the person who's adding colour to decide what kind of world they would like it to be. And I don't think we have enough whimsy in this world. It's very serious out there. As in, outside the walls of my house. Or when the outside world creeps in through news and television and so on. It's nice to have a bit of the world where there is just whimsy and fun. And I think that's an important part that artistic or creative pursuits have for us. It's like a good film or a good book that you can lose yourself in, a good story. And for a while, just put aside, sorry, I'm going to have a slurp of tea a moment. You can put aside everything that's going on in the world or things that are going on in our lives and just create a world that is just full of whimsy and fun and laughter and all the good things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be honest. In fact, I think it's a necessary part of taking care of ourselves. We need that time and space to process, technical term, to actually work through everything that's going on and to let things filter through. It doesn't mean we have to sit there and actively focus or consciously do that. This is like a mindfulness meditation, an active meditation, if you will. And I find that very charming and pleasing in its own little way. Okay, now in my little world here, I can have all kinds of things growing. These are some of the leaves. This is one of the leaves I did in an earlier video with you, I think. It's kind of shaped like a ginkgo leaf, but I'm going to just adapt this one just a little bit. Perhaps, oh. And I might just pop in to one of these sections. fill it with little circles. And I will complete that section down there as being, and the areas around being black. This black again serves a very good purpose as far as I'm concerned, is that the colours you put next to it, they seem that much more vibrant. So that's quite fun. So perhaps I'll have a little forest of these here going on. And they don't all have to be the same or have the same sort of pattern inside, but I am giving them a stem because I will come back and add some leaves in at some point. Most probably when I finished adding these particular leaves here. Well, perhaps I'll make this one the one that has a couple of these in before I fill it in with. The other thing about using a thicker pen is that I find it easier to judge when a space is getting too small, really, to be sensible to add colour to, possible colour to be added to. So I am enjoying the variety of lines. Yeah, I am. Drawing the stems in behind, and I'm trying to consider which way they would bend, not because the bend necessarily makes it interesting, though it does, but so that it would, how it goes behind other items in my drawing, it makes sense and lines don't join other lines, if I can manage it. Because when you've got that confusion of lines, especially when I do tend to draw very busy colouring templates, I put a lot of details into them, not as much as I used to in some ways, making things bigger and bolder, but still plenty of, you know, detail and pattern and fun things to add colour to. Not so much large expansive backgrounds, because open backgrounds, it's not my thing, not my style. Fine if it's everybody else's, but it's not mine. So that's quite nice that I've got the range of 3 of them like this. Really had trouble with that one getting that area neat. So leaves for this, I think I'm going to have ones that are shaped a bit like a kite, but with rounded corners. Oh, there we go. That one's genius, Angela. How to make a mess of something. So you've got the end closest to the stem. I'm doing the shortest sides of the kite shape, and then longer ones further away, and I will come back and add a stem in. And it's quite nice because I can add these into some of the spaces to fill some of the spaces up or break them up. So I have a habit, or not habit, but with backgrounds I tend to like to break them up into smaller pieces because it's easier to get a nice interesting background, or to get even coverage of colours if you break it up, so make it look a bit like stained glass, or have things like leaves touching other objects. I haven't done a very good job in these areas, but we're getting there. Now then, if I'm careful, if I use this as a guide, I can actually carry on my stem here because it'd be hidden behind this one. And I'll put my little top on like that. And I'm going to add another one of these. And yeah, it's a bit wonky, but no, nature's wonky. Perfectly wonky. A bit of wonkiness and imperfection is actually, well, it's your own personal touch. I admire artists who can do hyper-realistic photographic style paintings and so on. It is a skill, it is a talent. There's a lot of hard effort there. And I think it's amazing what they do. And I can wield a pencil and use highlights and shadows quite well to draw from observation. I can. But this is so much more fun to do, and in some ways it's actually harder because a lot of this is coming from the imagination, from observation as well, because the elements are coming from real things, but it's putting them together in an imaginative way and creating something that is, well, doesn't exist, that you can't sit down and copy from. And it's, I'm not saying anything's bad or this is better, I'm not saying that at all. Just saying this is how I choose to express myself. And line drawings, line art is definitely one of my kinds of skills, as well as the use of pattern and whimsy, because I just believe everybody could do with more whimsy in their life. Especially given everything in the last couple of years, perhaps, and even before, because the world's been a strange place for quite a while, perhaps forever, I don't know. But something makes me smile, then it's a good thing. That's all I'm going to say. We can all do with plenty of smiles, I think. So there we go. So I'm going to leave this with you here and now, and I'll finish this off later this day. Perhaps I'll see how I feel. Well, I will get it finished later today because I need to get it posted to the group tomorrow. Why don't? They're very forgiving, so if I can't get it done then, well, I can't get it done. But I want to get some colour added so I can get a sneak peek perhaps. So I must probably scan this in and start adding some colour and stuff in a little while. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you some ideas for how you can put things together and daft things that I do. I mean, I've got one fish totem pole. The chances are there's going to be at least one more appearing somewhere. Yeah, I do things in odd numbers, so it's going to be 1 or 3. 5 would be silly on the small, small drawing like this, or relatively small. But who knows? And there's got to be some more Doodleworlds characters cropping up somewhere. This is morphed from sort of like abstract botanical, cute and whimsical, to something a bit more Doodleworldsy, which is what I call my kind of doodly creatures, the kinds of things I like to do. So thank you for joining me. Have a go at putting things together yourself. You don't necessarily have to copy my ideas, or you can, but draw your own fish if you decide to do a totem pole. If you don't want to put doodly creatures at the top, don't put another big flower like this sticking out the top, or something else. Look up totem poles and tiki things and other things like that, because they're found in many cultures, and see if you get any ideas from there. And have fun. This is for you. Well, for you, it's likely to be sketchbook work. For me, this will be a finished drawing, colouring template, and with a bit of tidying up, no doubt. But I'm quite liking how it is at the moment. So enjoy yourselves, look after yourselves, and above all else, find time to be creative. Take care for now. Bye-bye.